guys doing during that 45 minutes?
I would.
The effects from my COVID vaccine.
Oh, that's right. Yep.
And I know I'm sure I was in deep, deep trance thought with my eyes closed and, just being transparent with God at the moment and listening.
Listening for his words.
Yeah, I was asleep.
And just so you know, though, in your absence, Hayden graciously, when he walked through the door, walked over to my door and said, "Hey, you got a minute?"
You got a minute?
One of us said it every morning for him.
Yeah. So, hey, welcome, everybody. If you're tuning in to our podcast this week, we missed you last week. I was out of the office. Beth was out of the office. But the two that were in the office, we weren't. Yeah, you were not feeling well.
I was not.
But the two that were in the office were doing something else other than the podcast. So,
well, I'm technology strapped.
So there you go.
So
I'm that's your excuse.
I'm out of that.
So
he's camera shy.
So there you go. So yeah. What does this say? This says start now. I don't understand.
Yeah, mine's just rolling.
So your internet connection may have been lost. There's something going on there, cheat guys.
Yeah, I don't show anything that says we're on.
Cheat guys. So
God
let
didn't
me
want us talking about this.
Start now. Let me try this again. I'll.
You got.
Yeah, I'm on YouTube.
You on YouTube?
Yeah. Are we on? Mm-hmm. Oh, we're on there. Well, so I guess we're on.
So we're on
Facebook. And everybody's like, "Well, what are you guys doing?"
So, Jim, I hear it's exactly 1 month until your anniversary.
Yes, it is. Yes, yeah. How would you know that date so well?
I don't know.
It's coming up.
Because it's going to be your anniversary.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right.
Not with my wife.
Until Hayden
your own.
is a married man or a married boy, however.
Okay, so it does look like we're on, so that's really cool. So if you're on with us, welcome. We're glad you're here. And sorry, you got to turn this volume off here. So anyways, thanks for joining us. And so what's this? You have an anniversary? What's coming up, man?
Well, my wedding anniversary, but he's getting married on our wedding anniversary.
Yeah.
They had to ask permission, but we gave him permission.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
How many years is it for you guys?
Do you want to really know? 22.
Wow,
Yep.
Dude, the double twos.
Yep.
Wow, that's pretty cool. So is that any different than 21?
One extra.
You got to make double twos special.
You got to understand his sense of humor, okay? Actually, that may be incorrect. It may be 23.
Oh, no!
So, the big 2-3.
The big 2-3.
So Lucy isn't watching.
Oh, no, it's okay because my wife has no idea. She normally forgets that we got married on the 24th. I mean, she almost forgot the wedding, so,
Oh.
Uh-oh, somebody there?
No,
What's
I'm
going on?
just saying,
showed up a little late.
See,
like
but
an
Beth,
hour.
when you do stuff like this, when you go, oh.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to get.
You're trying to get. I think it's our internet on the Orbi system. It's something that was probably. Well, I won't say who made it, but anyways, we.
So we're not on Facebook?
So no, we're on.
Oh,
we're
right.
on. Okay. So okay. So a couple of the things that are going on. So sorry, welcome everybody again. We're just having a weird morning this morning, but we're glad that you're with us and. We missed you last week, but we're glad to be back on, and we hope that we can entertain you for the next half hour with some of our thoughts. And so before we get into the topic, I wanted to just touch base with you guys about some of the current events that are going on right now. So this whole thing about Biden tripping upstairs has really gotten a lot of attention. I was telling you I was like, why are we cranking on that? Why is that a hot topic on social media? Like, is it just something to, like, I don't know, help me understand. Why is that such a focal point? Is it if it were Trump, would they do the same thing? Or do you think, what
Are
do
they
you
trying
think?
to imply that can't even walk upstairs, that like he's so old he can't walk upstairs, or?
He tripped up. He tripped up the stairs going to his jet last week and tripped a couple times, tried to regain his balance and just ended up kind of toppling over, but he got up and he was fine.
Yeah. Yeah, there was somebody that did a little clip that had the Mario guy in the car, and then he was throwing the banana peels, and every time he tripped, it would be on the banana peel. I was like, they're quite clever on what they're doing. They had one Trump was throwing MAGA hats at him, and he was falling every time he got hit by a MAGA hat, and I thought, oh gosh, don't we have anything else to be looking at this time? Jim, you have something to say about this?
No, not really. Because I trip up the steps all the time.
Yeah.
So, and I'm just happy that Hayden doesn't make comic and put on videos about it. So.
Well, I am too, because
I just haven't released them yet.
yeah, there you go. So last night we were doing the food drive. So I take the boxes downstairs just to try to help, and I come down the stairs and I clip my head, and I've got this big.
Oh, you
Yeah.
sure do.
You know, if you want to see it that way.
I saw
mean,
it earlier. I thought it was a big spider, so I didn't say anything.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate that. And I'm like, oh, glad nobody recorded that.
Well, look at it this way: it's a growth spurt.
Yeah.
You're taller. You're taller now.
Yeah, exactly. I'm taller. I can't believe. I'm like,
That's a big thing. If it hit me, I'd be good. I'd be
I'm
happy.
like, who puts stairs like this that are so close to the? I mean, like no one was looking at the height ratio of that stairs going down. You probably hit that. I would imagine.
Yeah, I have to be conscious anytime I go downstairs, so I
You're always conscious.
Yes.
Gotcha. Okay, so
Oh, Josiah's watching. Hi, Josiah.
hi Josiah. Good to see
Should
you.
you be at school?
Yeah.
They have a
Yeah.
flex day today.
Ooh, flex day.
well, be
Gotcha.
flexible then.
Yeah.
Why don't you come up here and join us, Josiah? You'll
Yeah.
live a mile down the road.
We'll
There
wait
you
for
go.
you.
Or bring or his drone. Just fly it in.
Yeah.
And you can show us your moment. So, what do you guys think of that? We've had two massive shootings this year. So far in 2021, in Atlanta, and then you've got the one in Boulder, Colorado. So, what do you guys think about that? Is this? Do you think that this is a trend that we're going to see more of? Because it's kind of been quiet, at least. In 2021, it was all the other natural things that were going on, but not necessarily,
In
mass
2020,
shootings.
you mean?
Yeah, in 2020.
Well, because everyone was quarantined. Even the bad guys quarantined, apparently, in 2020.
Well, there you go. Yeah.
I don't know.
That's your guys' answer.
I'm not quite sure I understood the question. Are you
Well,
asking
just
why?
what
why
are your
was it-
thoughts on this? Do you think this is gonna be a trend for 2021?
Well, I would certainly hope not. I mean,
Yeah.
I hope not a trend for anything in the future of mass shootings,
Sure.
because they're sad. I mean, it's there are people's lives that have been lost and families and so on and so forth, and it is unfortunate. And I just feel that in my opinion, the media attracts the wrong attention or takes the focus off of what really needs to be focused upon, and that is the root cause of the shooting. And it's not the weapon that it gets used. It's the person using the weapon. I don't care if it's a gun, if it's a knife, if it's whatever it is. It's a car when they're running over people, whatever the case may be. Strangulations. Well, I mean, it's not mass killing, but we had a young girl get raped and overdosed down in Florida last week.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So it's all because of the people doing it. It has nothing to do with the equipment that they use.
Yeah.
And but that's what we always focus upon. But that's not going to stop most of the time when even this gentleman here that killed these 10 people, he has a past.
Mm-hmm.
They do know that about him. He's been
Yeah.
arrested a couple times for anger, for beating up people, and it's just so you have to kind of take a look at what the root cause was of why this was taking place,
Yeah.
rather than just start saying that it's the weapons used, and or it's a hate crime.
Yeah.
This last one here had nothing to do with hate. I don't believe it had just to do with he was a little messed up and he took this frustration out.
Yeah.
So how do we solve that? Well, get more people into Christ, I guess. But
Yeah,
but,
absolutely. I mean, the attack on guns has already begun,
sure.
and it's just gonna bring that back up. For those that are conspiracy theorists, they're gonna see this as just another ploy to take our guns and away from law-abiding citizens and stuff like that. And crazy times. And I was at out with Heather yesterday, and that we saw that on the news, and I just thought, goodness, going into a grocery store and just kind of blowing people away. I just don't. It's Heather's looking at me, kind of going, "What in the world is going on in our world?"
Well, I mean,
it's just,
we've had them in any times we've had them, well, many places, but we've had them in schools, we've had them in grocery stores now, we've had them in movie theaters, we've had them in nail salon, so it's just it makes people really leery of being able to, am I safe where?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to be hopefully getting rid of the mask mandate here pretty soon. And so what's the first
There was a
thing?
mandate?
Yeah, yeah. So what's the first thing you're going to do with when the mask mandate is lifted?
I'm going to put one on. All them crazies will be out there.
Always
Yeah.
the rebel.
Yeah, because everybody's going to want to start kissing and hugging and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And, I mean, Beth has already started talking about that, seeing people getting close and hugging. And
Well,
once that mask mandate comes off.
Does your husband know I hugged you yesterday?
yes, actually he
I
does.
was going to say he does now.
Yeah, there you go.
He
There
did-
you
he
go.
did know.
Yes.
So we already started our hugging.
It's
so.
that brotherly love. Hey, we're a family here at this church, and we love that.
I unfortunately see you three more than I see my family. So, or fortunately,
You poor
however
thing.
you want to look at it.
Yeah.
You were right the first time.
Yeah. So, Hayden, what are you going to do with this whole mask mandate?
You're going to hug
being
me right
lifted?
away.
I'm suddenly going to become really uncomfortable with COVID and still have to keep my distance from everyone.
That's right. That's right. All of a sudden.
No.
He's looking for no hug mandate.
Hey, should we have like a zone over here, like that says this is a COVID concern area, so no hugging, no touching, don't even look at each other.
I mean, it doesn't have to be COVID. Just say like introvert zone over
This
here.
is the
Like-
introvert zone. Yeah, you and Sarah last night.
Yeah.
Sheesh. I walk outside and they're like, yeah, this is the introvert zone. I'm like, what?
Don't come any closer.
Don't come any closer. We're totally fine over here. Go away.
What would we rather do? Stand inside with 30 people who are really sweaty and like are wanting to like talk and be with each other and touch, or stand outside where it's nice and cool, where there's 2 people and we're just hanging out.
Hanging out. Yeah, well, good. Well, I'm glad you guys had a good time. We had a good day yesterday. That was a lot of help, and it was really cool to see a lot of families helped out. So I want to get right into our topic here today. And so this Sunday, I shared a message on this healing of the demoniac in Luke chapter 8. And one of the things that you saw was this guy was naked, and he's running around a tomb, like a cemetery, and he's breaking chains. It sounds like he's kind of out of control and all this stuff. And everybody knew him, obviously. This would have been a problem in that culture. But then here comes Jesus. Jesus shows up, sets the guy free from all these demons. And it says that what happened was that everybody that knew about this guy were kind of freaked out, but they wanted to know what was going on. And in Luke chapter 8, verse 35, it says, when they came to Jesus, they found the man from whom the demons had gone out, sitting at Jesus' feet, dressed and in his right mind. And they were freaked out. They were afraid. And then it jumped down to verse 38. It says, the man from whom the demons had gone out begged to go with him, with Jesus and the disciples. But Jesus sent him away, saying, return home and tell how much God has done for you. So the man went away and told all over town how much Jesus had done for him. And it got me thinking Sunday. I was talking to a friend, Nolan, in our church about this and talking about, and it kind of alludes to a conversation I think we've all kind of been sharing together, which is we want to see God move. We want to see God at work. We want to see God move in our church. We want to see, people experiencing change and all that. And I think I can only imagine what life must have been like for this guy to go and for you to know who he was and say, man, I remember you running around buck naked, just kind of like a crazy man. And it's like, but you're not that way anymore. And it's like, what happened? And then you're still that way. I just do that in my house. I just
Introverts. do
Here we
things
go with
differently.
visions again.
Introverts do things differently. He's like, hey man, don't have a problem with.
Wonder why they all by themselves.
No one wants to see that.
So, yeah, that's an image I don't want to go. I got to keep that out of there.
Let's just move on.
Let's just move on. So, but it would have been amazing to hear his story from his lips. Here he is, a life changed, and it says that he went home and told everybody, "Look at what Jesus has done. I mean, he set me free, and I can live life and all this kind of stuff." So change, I think, restoration, being changed by Jesus. How, if you could look back, even if it's over this last year or just even over your lifetime, how have you seen Jesus change you? Who wants to go first? I know I've talked with you prior, but who wants to go first? What are some ways that you've seen Jesus change you? So.
Good morning, Carrie.
Yeah.
On the phone.
Oh, Carrie is watching now. She's
Not Carrie Mock.
Oh, different Carrie. Okay, gotcha.
Our friend from the UK.
Oh, that's right. Hi, Carrie. Good to see you. And glad you're here. So, Beth, are you? Was that what you wanted to start? Is that?
I was going to say Carrie said good morning, but
Oh,
I can start and talk about how when I moved here 4 years ago, how my relationship with God changed, and it was because I started learning more about who God is and who He is in my life. I mean, God didn't change. He was always the same. I was looking at Him in a different way.
sure.
So I came here and started learning, I don't know, just all kinds of things. Not like He's not this guy sitting up there waiting for us to screw up, that He's a God of love, and He's a God of compassion, and He's a God of patience and forgiveness, and that's very freeing, and it makes me personally feel more worthwhile in myself. Like, God loves me. He loves me, even despite everything I do that I mess up or make a wrong choice or whatever. He loves me. So for me, that was just so many different things: freeing, comforting,
Is there anything?
relaxing. Like specifically,
Yeah. Is there anything that you're willing to share to the internet, the interwebs,
the interwebs.
the interwebs,
And I'm taking notes.
and that catches in the interwebs that like how has He changed you, where you can see like evidence of it, like this is what He's done in my life.
Well, so my whole relationship with Him changed because I used to feel like He was kind of, I don't know how to say it, kind of like so far above me, just waiting for me to mess up, to discipline me, and kind of like untouchable. I guess that's the best way to put it. Like He was just up there untouchable. And I wanted to please Him, but I was afraid of doing things wrong and how He would react. And now, as I'm learning, He just wants a relationship, like a father relationship. Yeah, I'm off too.
It's off.
Yeah. Facebook's off. Not
Yeah, but Hayden's still going. So for me, it was a whole new way of learning, a whole new thought process of how I thought about Jesus and how I thought about my relationship with Him. And sometimes I still fall back into old habits, but mostly it's just refreshing to learn how my relationship really is with God, what God really wants my relationship to be.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand how like being afraid of like my perception of Him and His reaction to me, and then being able to say, I could be free from knowing He doesn't perceive me that way.
Right.
And so I can now, walk in a way that doesn't, cause that just, that maybe that doubt or that confusion in you,
Yes. Yeah.
so that you can keep going forward. So good. Okay. Well, I like that. I appreciate you sharing that. I know those are personal feelings and stuff like that. And again, that's what change is all about, is being able to share with each other this is what's going on. How's the drug addiction going? I mean, are you?
He's taking care of that as well.
There you go. So
it's going. Yeah.
We're all about
Wait till he
freedom.
gets to your addiction.
We're all about freedom and stuff like this.
I'm going to help him when he gets to you.
Yeah. Somebody else. What else
Let's
is?
just go down the line.
Oh, you want to go down the line? Okay. All right. So yeah. So thank you, Beth. I appreciate that. Yeah. What about you, Hayden? Like, have you locked? It could be over this last year. It could be over your lifetime. Just how have you seen the Lord change you?
I haven't seen anything. I'm just
Oh, that's too
no. No, I would say that the biggest instance of growth for me was back in 2017, 2018, with when I went down to Louisiana through that, Friendships Unlimited, and it was a disaster relief organization, and I thought for sure that's where I was supposed to go, but didn't really pray about it. Didn't really, just thought it'd be cool, and I went, and 4 days later I had a heat stroke, and I was told that I can't return back to it, and another 4 days later I was in the hospital for 4 days, and then I had to go back up to Indiana, and I was just laying in my bed, same bed that I had laid in for 20 years, and I was like, what the crap?
Yeah.
And so that was a big learning experience for me, because all that, in Romans 8:28, that God works for the good of those who are called according to His purpose and who love God, and I'm like, okay, how is this good for me? And it took me a better part of a year. I was angry and just bitter and hateful, and just didn't want anything to do with God, and He eventually just called me out of my crap and in front of a crowd of like 50 people, and I felt compelled to take the microphone and tell everyone that I was being an idiot, and just learn to trust Him, and another big thing is just learn to pray, pray and trust God that He's working things out, whether we view it as our definition of good or not, He's working things out. So
I appreciate that, and that's a hard lesson to learn. I mean, you went through a dark, I think, a really deep, kind of a dark time in your life, and that to get through that. But that's evidence again. God's in your life. God is there, even in the midst of all that. What do you say to somebody that, if they were to look at you and not know that you were going through that valley, going in that pit, of maybe anger and I'm mad at you, God, and I don't understand, and all this kind of stuff? They might misinterpret that as like oh, he's lost the faith or something like that. How would you want people to look at others like that were like you in that moment? How do you look at them with, I don't know, hope that God is still there? God has something He wants to do. Is it, or maybe it's just for you. It's changed the way you see people, especially in that moment. What would you say?
I'd say, if I had to go through that experience again, how I would want people to respond to me is, well, and I know I'm not like most people, but when
A truer statement never was spoken.
when someone tells me something that doesn't make sense, that doesn't compute with me. And so for me, it was a lesson that I had to learn on my own. But there are some people that maybe they would need someone to reach in and help encourage them, and I had people telling me all the time that I was home for a reason. Okay, well, you can't just say that. What reason? Give me something tangible that I can hold on to. Yeah. And so it took God taking a sledgehammer to my stubbornness and anger, and and so I would say, don't be judgmental of a person, but act in love and try to help them. But ultimately, it's a decision that they have to. It's something that they have to work through. So.
Do you think by them saying to you, "Hey, God has a reason. God has a reason," and that might have been I don't want to say offended you, but bothered you? Do you think that by them saying that also helped? like it maybe pushed you to that, God, I'm wrestling with you, man. Where are you? What's going on? And rather than if no one had said, yeah, I don't know, man. You know, this is you're lost, man. You know, I don't know. What I mean, did that help?
So yeah, it definitely helps, but at the time, you know, it was one of the last things I wanted to hear.
Sure.
I wanted to stew in my own anger and bitterness, and
Yeah.
so
Well, I appreciate that. So thank you for sharing that. That's some powerful stuff. You got to follow that up. So
I'm not sure I want to follow either one of these guys so far. Maybe I should let you go. Maybe you got something worse in your life.
oh
because,
yeah, no.
Because I'm not worried about what
I'm not as bad as these guys.
What I'm I'm not worried about what I'm willing to share that the world might know. I'm worried more about what the world might share that I forgot about my life.
Yeah,
So-
we got some people that want to talk.
They're calling in
Tuning
now.
in.
They're calling in right now. You've been busy now. Just text one of my old friends, and they'll just pass it on. Well, unlike, I'm sure the most of the world out there would want to say, well, he's a pastor, right?
Yeah.
So he grew up in a church, and he's done all these wonderful things, and never did anything wrong, and all that kind of good stuff. Well, I got some news for you. Sorry. I was not a nice person, and I wasn't. Well, I shouldn't say that. I was very loving and fun, and if you wanted to be able to party with somebody, I was the guy.
Yeah.
And alcohol played a major part in that for a lot of years of my life.
Really.
Caused a lot of stress, not only in marriage, but it's kids, and I hurt a lot of people, and I've apologized time and time again to all those people, past friends and family, but I was even grew up in Goshen, by the way, but I was known as a Jelly Bean King, because the Jelly Bean is like a triple shot glass, but it's anisette, blackberry brandy, 151 rum, a little whiskey on top. You light that on fire, and then you drink it.
Oh wow.
I was known as the Jelly Bean King because I was able to stand on a stage like this where the band played, and I did 23 of them that night,
Whoa.
along with all the beers I was sucking down, and I was still able to stand up because there was a challenge I think it was Saturday night that we did that.
Wow.
And I don't remember, but I drove my Harley home that night. But yeah, this is the wonderful life I lived. Mauer's Lounge was the partying place, and they had live bands from Tuesday through Saturday night, and I was there from Tuesday through Saturday night, and I would close it down at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning and be at work at 6 in the trailer factory, and that was my life.
Wow.
And moved on past that, but continued drinking, but not as heavily. But yeah, and finally, one time it just came to, there's got to be more than this. And I was led to Christ. You hear jubilation stories when the person receives Christ, that it all changes. Well, mine didn't just jump out and change right away. It took time.
Yeah. I bet.
But all of a sudden, I didn't want to go out and do those things, and I didn't enjoy the taste of beer and alcohol anymore, and it just took a little more time. But within a year, I was clean.
Wow.
And I won't say I haven't drank since then. I've had a sip of wine every now and then, or something, or cold beer every now and then.
Sure,
We're cooking
sure.
out or something, but no, I have no urge to. Matter of fact, I'm like, no, I'm not even thinking about it. I don't want to go there. I remember the past. So
Yeah.
God does, when you finally get His blood and allow yourself to know that His blood will cover those sins, and His blood was now transformed into your blood,
Yeah.
then it's life-changing.
Yeah.
And now you're pumping His blood through your veins, and guess what? That changes the person.
Yeah.
So it can happen. I always said, if it happens for me, it can happen for anybody.
Wow.
So it's just, there's other ugly things that go along with that, but that's enough of the story.
Yeah.
But you mentioned earlier a couple things I jotted notes down about. You mentioned about hearing these kind of stories, and it's the testimonies that people need to give
Yeah.
that the world needs to hear.
Yeah.
We can stand as preachers and stand and talk all we want
Yeah.
about what God's word tells us, but
Yeah.
the best testimony isn't just the word of God.
Yeah.
It's the people that have been changed.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate that we talked earlier that I did a little survey one time about prayer within the church and how many prayer requests we got over a several-month period. I don't know how many it was now. And I took all that number but then put it against how many praises we got from the prayer requests, and it was less than 3%. But then when I went back and checked with all the people we had prayed for to check out, well, how did the prayers, how did the situation evolve for you? Oh, and it was like 96%. that whatever was going on in their life that they were looking for prayer for changed.
Yeah.
For the better, for the
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
But they didn't tell anybody. Well, those are the things that you want to talk about testimonies and bringing
Yes.
people to Christ. Those are the things that happen.
Yeah.
And that's when it's going to take place and happen. And our last one way off color here is you talk about the naked man. Okay, right?
I thought he was going to break that part of his story.
No.
I was afraid.
No.
I thought, oh no.
No.
After all those,
After
all
all-
the shots and all the stuff, I thought, oh great.
No,
He's
no.
going to be naked in the cemetery.
No, but
Yeah.
I'm not.
Yeah, no one knows.
Exactly, I'm not
Well,
sharing.
hey, no one knows.
I'm not sharing
Hey.
those parts. But they talked about the naked man.
Yeah.
Well, you know, the shooter that just happened was
Yeah.
naked when he gave himself up.
Really?
When he got done shooting the people in the store, he took all of his clothes off and walked out. Said, "I give up. I'm done." Because he had been hit in the leg. But he took off all of his clothing and walked out.
Interesting.
So that's why I say you got to think about the people that are carrying the gun.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
they're
it's-
not in their right
Yeah,
mind.
yeah.
and
Well, just like your naked man
just
here.
like this man here. He wasn't in his right mind, but Jesus brought him
Correct.
into his right
So
mind.
there's your lead into you.
There you go. Yeah, I think for me, what I've seen over the last year is, for me, I carry a lot, and I didn't realize how much I carry. Not that I want to hold things against people, but like hurts. I have a tendency to carry them, and I don't know why. It's not. I think it's, for me, it's like I don't want to hurt somebody. I don't want to offend. I don't mind conflict. Because I'd rather resolve the conflict. I want to get it out of the way. I hate things kind of hanging in there. But there's stuff that where I have to constantly battle that, and I've been trying to consciously let some things go. Now, some things I can't deal with, and then I have to just kind of keep working through. But I found that there are some victories that of letting some things go. Things like in my family, things with my wife or something that I've held on to, and it's like it's always been there. And sometimes we register in our head, we're like, well, they're just always like that, or they're just always going to do that. And it's like, and I wanted to consciously, I'm like, Lord, help me see them differently. They are not the same person that they were when I first met them. They're in a constant state of growth, and so I have to, as you're growing me and changing me, I need to be that person that sees, that's willing to see the growth that's going on inside of them. They're not always going to be pulling it off the way you want it to be done, but that's part of the process of growing. And so, but being able to just kind of see, okay, there are things I can check off in my mind that are I'm being freed from. And there's a sense of joy. It's funny. There's a sense of joy in not carrying some stuff anymore. And I found that while we were in a hard year of COVID and everybody's doing whatever they're doing and everybody's hostile and all this kind of stuff, I kept really trying to deal with some of this stuff and not carry it. Part of it was, I really feel like the Lord is coming soon. So I've said this repeatedly, I think, from the platform here, that if you're harboring some ill will towards somebody, you got to let it go, or you got to learn to forgive. And I'm preaching more to myself than I think, and I'm sure there's other people that it's resonating with, but I'm like, Rustin, there are some things you have got to let go. But I would have to say, I haven't let them all go, and I think the Lord is still working with me on those things. And the Lord is delicately, through His Spirit, delicately appoints like moments where it's like, yeah, we're going to talk about that now. So, it's like, I don't want to talk about that right now. I like being mad at that person, and I don't like this, and because I don't want to carry those things. I really don't. But it's a weird, isn't it kind of weird? There is a sense of joy once you're free, and it just kind of.
It's kind of like how long I carried.
There you go.
It's kind of like how long I carried the thought, like almost like God was waiting for me to mess up. And now that I've learned more about who He is and how loving He is, I don't worry about that anymore. It's way freeing.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that if I mess up, I know He's going to forgive me. He's not just going to issue some huge punishment and say, "Ha, caught you. Here's your punishment."
Yeah.
That's not how it is. It's
That's
just
only going to be at your job performance review. That just.
daily. Yeah, daily.
But you're right. No,
But
you're right.
It is a very freeing. That's why some of the words in the songs, when you sing the song, like "I'm a child of God."
Yeah.
That in and of itself, that statement right there, is such a freeing statement when you know what that truly means. And if you don't know what that truly means, call, because you need to.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You need to know that.
Absolutely.
There's no other way to live.
Yeah. Yeah. Hayden, you grabbed your mic. Or does that mean you have something to say?
Yeah, well, I think that's what Paul talks about in Philippians, the peace of God that transcends understanding.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's we talked about this at youth group last week. We talked about we're in a little bit of a heavier series. We talked about anxiety last week, and I made sure to say that in the midst of of an anxiety attack, I'm not saying that do all this step by step and you're going to be free of anxiety, but just taking a moment to just quiet down and just listen and pray and just talk. I mean, to me, there are times that I just have to do that, and almost 10 times out of 10, I'll feel that peace of God where it's just, okay, you're in control. Like, no matter what happens, you're in control. And it's the peace that transcends understanding, because anyone on the outside looking in, they're like, you're an idiot. Like, how are you just okay letting this go? Like, and that's the understanding that it transcends, because it's like, that's the faith. I'm like, God's worked things out for me before, and He will continue to do it for me. So.
Yeah. Absolutely. Good stuff. Yeah, both of you. So, yeah, I think that and we've talked about this a little bit, I think this over a couple days, and I know you and I have talked a little bit more about this even longer, is that and you notice this in the church, is that it's almost kind of like we come and we're used to, we get up, we sing, we listen to a sermon, and then we go. And it's like, and I was sharing with you guys, I just feel like we're missing, there's a part that I think we need to find again, which is, I think, like you said, kind of that family feel where we're sharing life with each other and being able to pray for each other, being able to cry with each other, being able to, rejoice over the victories of what God is doing in our lives. And then there's times where there needs to be humility and just say, guys, I need to confess something. And where it may not be to the whole church, but it may be to a friend, but we're in this together. And so what I want to do, and I was just sharing with you guys a little earlier, after Sunday, the whole point of Easter, it's a restoration project that God is on. He made Adam and Eve as a result of the choice of eating the fruit of sin, rebellion. The judgment is sin, and therefore it's like we're marred by sin. But then Jesus came to die and rise again so that we could be back in this restoration process where we're back to what He originally designed. But it's something to be able to step back and say, how is God restoring you? And I think part of that family feel would be, I think it'd be good to hear it from other people. And so I'd like to be able to hear from others. And I think your story, just like all of your guys, even though you are pastors and secretary, doesn't mean that your story is any less valuable just because you are a pastor or a secretary. You're a brother, you're a sister, and I think that your story is going to say something to them. People are going to be, maybe shocked by some things, but the point of it is that just like this man, he went home, told him, this is what he did to me. This is what he did. This is how he's changed my life. And it's an impact, I think, that will go beyond what we possibly could imagine. Yeah, you're like ready to make a joke.
No, I just sitting there thinking maybe I should clarify the fact that when I was going through everything I was talking about, this wasn't last year. Okay.
Yeah, we found Jim and we said you need to be.
I was in my 20s. Okay, it was 20s, 30s, whatever, you know. So,
The roaring 20s.
yeah, 40, 50 years ago. Okay.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, he's trying to age you, man. The roaring 20s, he's trying to put you.
Okay, wait. Karen Schmidt's watching. Nate Mock is, and so is Doug Leach. Hi, guys.
Hey, guys.
Hey,
welcome,
guys, how
welcome,
are ya?
welcome. So, I'm hoping that what we could do is, and like I said, I was talking to Nolan about this last night and about maybe doing some video stories, calling it maybe either, the Restoration Project or something that we're all, giving people an opportunity to just tell a story of how God is changing their life. Maybe 30 seconds, it may be 3 minutes, but it's something that we can hear from each other and praise God for. Just like I would imagine this man felt with going home, and for his family to embrace him. I would imagine, people that loved you were like knowing you were maybe on a path that was destructive.
Well, that's I know where you're going.
Yeah.
And you're going to say that they were rejoicing because that they finally saw the transformation.
I don't know if they did, but yeah.
I would say I had more on the flip side.
Really?
more that were disgusted over the fact that I was now following Christ.
Oh, wow.
Because I was disowning them. I loved them as friends, but I wouldn't go to the bar with them. I wouldn't
Gotcha.
go party with them. I wouldn't do the crazy things that I was doing with them anymore.
Gotcha.
And they just could not understand that. And no matter how much I tried to explain, they just couldn't understand it. But yes, there was some rejoicing too. But
on the friend side, you're talking about the people that you actually were doing these things with, were not necessarily family.
No.
Yeah, these were friends.
Those are friends. Yeah.
So, but like this, I mean, even the guys that were taking care of the pigs that these demons were put into, and I mean, even they said, "Jesus, please go away." Yeah. We don't really dig what you're doing here. And so, absolutely. But I'm sure that there were people that were close to you that were like, I saw what was going on, and I'm glad that something changed Jim. Maybe they didn't know what it was, but something changed Jim's heart. So,
Exactly. Yeah.
so yeah, I appreciate you guys just sharing, and so we're hoping that if you're watching this here today, that maybe you would contact. I mean, you could contact any of us. But we would like to start. Usually I like to come up with ideas, and then they just have to run with it. So if you want to be a part of the Restoration Project in our church and just being able to share a story, and it's a bold move, being able to share a story on video, come in, we'll record it and all that stuff. And you've got myself. I know Hayden does a lot of video editing, and so we got a number of people that could help video edit and record and stuff. But we'd like to tell your story. On a Sunday morning, we can work it out where it's a part of the service where we can have a chance to be able to hear your story. Praise God for like what he did for this man and what he's doing in your life. So we hope that you'll join us and be a part of this Restoration Project. So anyways, hey, guys, we're done.
Well, thank you, everybody. Have a God day.
Yeah. You anything else you want to say to them, Hayden?